It's the show that's moving fast. It's called The Captain and the Real Deal Podcast with our brother Top Gun, our flight engineer. We're talking Vikings and Hawks, man, the tip of the spear, because we float past clowns with the greatest of ease. They just buckle down to their knees with the grip of a pit bull locked on the mic. We'll be tearing it up night after night. I'm Captain Luke, an operator. I could never be a faker, and I'm serving you lyrics better than a damn waiter. Rhyming on this microphone, and I just never am alone with Big Gold and Top Gun. You know we full grown. Can you hear my tone? I'm in the podcast zone, giving you a taste of my microphone. The homie by my side, he will make you glide. So Big Gold, slice and dice and bring this party inside. Cut it up, B Gold. We get the call with the ball and we're ready to maul. There's no competition, we will never fall. Ball could be in the air or for that 9 route. I shake and bake at the line of scrimmage and I'm out. And off to the house with 6 more for the squad, generating the speed of a NASCAR hot rod. On arrival, the 12s go mad. The opposition got the Emerald Nation is glad. So brace yourself for the show that's the most. While B Gold is spinning, I'm one of your hosts. We also got the Real Deal who makes his cameo with unfiltered thoughts that'll jam you, bro. And our technician, aka Top Gun, he'll test his skills for fun, and he's never on the run. I'm Captain Fook, unfadable, just like the Real Deal. The bigger the headache, the bigger the pill. That's a shout out to the homie George Clinton, the masters of the funk, yo. That's my opinion. So in 2022, and it's season 2, Captain Fook and the Real Deal are ready for you. If you're ready for us, there's no time to discuss. It's about that action, y'all. So get your butt on the bus, because the Captain and the Real Deal are ready to go. And if you are too, then let's start the show, because it's the Captain and the Real Deal Podcast. What's it called? It's called the Captain and the Real Deal Podcast. All right, then let's start the show.
Soldiers, 12s, and all you football fanatics. Welcome to another episode of the Captain and the Real Deal Podcast. On today's episode, them guys will bring you all the latest news and information for their respective teams, the Seattle Seahawks and the Minnesota Vikings.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Damen und Herren, it's time for the podcast featuring Captain Fook and Billy Gold, aka The Real Deal. This is the only place that's talking Hawks and Kings, but to be specific, we're talking Seattle Seahawks and Minnesota Vikings. So strap up. We're taking you on a fantastic voyage, unlike any you've ever been on, so sit back and get ready to set sail to the emerald-rich lands of the Seattle Seahawks and the treasure-filled valleys of the Minnesota Vikings, with your hosts, Captain Fook and Billy Gold, aka The Real Deal. Let's get it.
exhausted too.
Famished.
Welcome to episode 17 of the Captain and the Real Deal podcast. I'm Billy Gold, along with Captain Vuk and the Maverick, our production engineer, Mike Top Gun Cruz. We have another great episode in store for you today. So I suggest fill up your solo cup. Boy, they were rolling around this weekend. Sit back and get ready for another fantastic voyage. Hey, Cap, you ready to roll?
I am ready to roll, B Gold. As tough as it may seem, I am ready to roll. We need some new battery chargers in the Emerald Nation, but we're going to talk about that as we float through this. But well, the Scoldgers have messed around and took control of their own fate and secured a ticket to the big dance. Congratulations.
Thank you.
The Seahawks, alternatively, have lost 4 of the last 5 games in a row, and we now have a 27% chance of making the playoffs.
Still got a shot. Went out.
What happens next? You know we'll find out together. So B Gold, drop that knowledge on us.
All right. I got a lot of information this
Let's
week.
go.
But let's start out with the game recap with the Colts. So let's get to the first half. Minnesota gave up a big kickoff return right out of the gate, had a punt block for a touchdown. Dalvin Cook fumbled when the Vikings were in scoring position. Kirk Cousins tripped over his lineman's foot again this year, and then he threw a pick 6.
I saw it.
Let's just say the Colts dominated the first half. Number of first downs for the Vikings in the first half, 3. Score at halftime, 33-0 Colts.
Tell them about it, brother.
The place is a morgue. People are there. Now, I will say later it filled back up, so they must have went out to the concourse to go shopping, but...
Did you explain your position in life at that time? Does everybody know where you were?
We will get to where I was sitting. There's a lot. Yeah, I got a lot.
Because we shared a phone call at halftime. Don't forget that.
Yeah, all right.
Don't forget that.
Yeah, so at halftime, I called Top Gun and I called Cap, and I said, listen, I'm here. I'm not leaving. It's 33-0. We got to make this respectable. We got to do something. So I called my team, to get a little, give them the, fill in on how I'm feeling. 33-0. I'm going, I got to do a podcast.
I can vouch for you, though. Ladies and gentlemen, I can vouch for this man right here. Huge deficit, 33-0. And he's like, yeah, some people are leaving, but I'm going back in for more. I said, that's my guy. Go on in there and get some of that. You never know what might happen.
Exactly. So we get to the second half. The Vikings finally got on the board midway through the third quarter, as Cousins found KJ Osborne on a 2-yard touchdown pass and make it 33-7. The play was set up by Cousins finding Osborne for a big 63-yard gain a couple plays before that, and the Vikings managed to avoid the shutout. Okay, so we finally avoided the shutout, but, they're going to say Kirk Cousins garbage time stats and points. So the Colts got some of it back on their next possession as their kicker hit his field goal from 52 yards to make it 36-7. Vikings responded with another touchdown on an 8-play, 75-yard drive, capped off by a 1-yard TD run from C.J. Ham to cut the score to 36-14 with just over a minute left in the third quarter. In most NFL games, that's too much to overcome. After an Indianapolis punt, the Vikings put together a third consecutive touchdown drive as Cousins found J.J. for an 8-yard score to make it 36-21 with just under 13 minutes left in the contest. The Vikings defense, and I will tell you something what happened at halftime about their defense, but they forced another Colts punt, and they pushed again into Indianapolis territory on what looked like a miscommunication by Jalen Reagor. Cousins was intercepted by Rodney Thomas for his second turnover of the day, which stopped the Vikings drive. I'm going to talk about Mr. Reagor later.
Uh-oh. Starting to rhyme. Pay attention.
Actually, I'm going to hand that over to the real deal.
There we go.
The Vikings defense, though, stood up and again forced another punt with the Vikings getting the ball back at midfield. It didn't take long for the Vikings to get back in the end zone as Cousins found Thielen for a 1-yard touchdown. The extra point was good. And just like that, it was down to a 1-score game at 36-28 with just over 5 minutes left. Again, you made it respectable. Nobody thinks this could ever happen. It's never happened. On the Colts' next play, it appeared that cornerback Chandon Sullivan had another scoop and score for a touchdown, but the official ruled that the runner was down by contact.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, we had a conversation about that. That guy, the guy, I have that later.
That's a Roger.
I have that later.
I believe it.
Vikings got the ball back on the fumble recovery, but not a touchdown, and their drive eventually stopped on a 4th down. So again, down by 8 points, they still couldn't catch up. After that turnover on downs, the Colts faced a 4th and 1 from the Minnesota 36-yard line. Rather than attempt a long field goal inside, by the way, and the guy had already made a 51-yard earlier, the Colts went for it to try and seal the game, and the Vikings stuffed Matt Ryan at the line, which gave the Vikings the ball back with 2 minutes and 19 seconds left on the clock and no timeouts. Trailing 36-28. The Vikings only needed one play, and we'll talk about that later too, as Dalvin Cook took a screen pass from Kirk Cousins and went 65 yards for a score to make it 36-34. I'm telling you guys during this podcast, there's going to be times where I'm going to lose my voice, and you'll know because of this game. The Vikings then needed a 2-point conversion to tie things up, and they got it on a pass from Cousins to T.J. Hitman Hawkinson.
New addition.
And somehow, the game was tied at 36, and there's still 2 minutes to go.
Amazing game.
How did that happen?
It was amazing.
Okay. Vikings got the ball back on a punt but could not generate a drive, punting the ball back to the Colts, and then the game went into overtime, 36-36. Vikings win the coin toss, but on their first drive, they were stopped. They punted. The defense stood up again, stopped them. They punted it back to the Vikings, and they ultimately got into position, and it would have been a 45-yard field goal, but the defender tried to hold JJ on the ground after a completion. She got an extra 5 yards.
Got caught.
And unbelievably, it split the uprights, Joseph's field goal.
It did.
And gave the Vikings the most improbable of improbable wins anybody has ever seen. I still am. I'm going to be for a couple more days. I'm exhausted.
Do you have your fun facts? I know you got your fun facts.
I do. I got a couple other things for you.
Work your way through, my friend.
Some final thoughts. Greatest comeback in NFL history. B Gold and the Real Deal were there. And we have proof. The Vikings now move to 11-3 on the season and will play their home finale next Saturday when they host the G-Men at the Bank. Okay, the pundits are saying the Vikings may not be good enough to conquer the Titans like the Eagles or the Chiefs on the road. The Eagles on the road or the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. But you know what?
Talk to them.
This year, they don't quit. So they always have a chance.
That's the theme right there.
You always got a chance. Game balls, Dalvin Cook. Hey, he had 190 yards from scrimmage. One play weaving, 64 yards for the tying touchdown off a screen pass. He also reached 1,000 rushing yards for the 4th time. KJ Osborne, our new number 2 receiver. Actually, he's passed out Thielen. He put on a show, 10 passes for 157 yards and a touchdown. Kirk Cousins, stat line, 34 of 54 passes, 469 yards, almost hit the 500, 4 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. But you know what? We're going to talk about those 2 interceptions because they weren't on Captain Check Down Kirk.
Oh, God.
Cousins.
Captain.
His yardage mark in the second half of 417 yards was the most by a player in the game in 45 years.
Let's take a quick look at that. What does that tell you about him, honestly? What does that tell you about him, knowing it's 33-0 at home at halftime with the chance to secure the playoffs on the line? What does that tell you about Kirk, straight up?
He did not quit, and he was going to play till the final gun.
Absolutely.
But wait till you hear some of the other stuff later about the rants, because they're still killing them. You come back and you have the greatest comeback at all time. And you're still killing them. All right, we're going to start with some game day pictures. Settling in at the Polaris Club. Here I am with Greg the Usher, who went out of his way with customer service. All right.
What's up, Greg?
This guy was money all day. All right, let's move on to me having a little fun jumping on the Polaris vehicle.
They let you drive that thing inside the building?
No snow, and I was still making ground.
Didn't leave a mark on the floor.
And you see the jacket I'm wearing in that picture, right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, obviously, the message got to Captain Kirk, because in his post-game interview, look what he's doing.
He's rocking yours.
He's rocking the jacket that I brought to the stadium.
Nice.
How awesome is that?
Well done.
You should have heard me at the game.
Oh, I bet you were.
You should have heard me. I'm telling you.
I gotta
There
know.
I must have did 1,200 high fives.
How many photos did you take? Because the last time you took about 300.
Yeah. We got some more photos. We'll get to them.
Nice.
All right, Cap. I know I provided a lot of information, but it was a special weekend.
Very.
So you were not here last week, and I did not give any recap of last week's game or this week's game. So have at it, dude. Have at it.
Well, let me just let everybody know, all the Seahawks fans, I'm not going to bore you with a full recap on 2 losses, but what I will do is highlight a few things. If you don't know, though, we did lose to the Carolina Panthers at home, 30-24. So another one-score game that we lose. Time of possession, we had it for 20 minutes. They had it for basically 40. You can't win doing that type of stuff. Not going into detail, but I will talk about a couple of keys to victory. The following week, we see our division rival, Frisco, coming back to the house, Emerald Nation. B Gold, do you have any idea what happened? Yes, you do, because I told you about it. We had a chance to win this game, too, and we had some critical errors. I'll highlight just 2. Travis Homer, you know I love you, bro. But you can't drop the rock when the game is on the line. And Quandary, I can't forget about you. You my dude, too. But when the ball is right in your hands and you know that this is what you're getting paid for,
On the numbers.
you got to come through for us, man. Those would have been game changers. Gino's doing everything he can, but he needs all 11 on every team. So we take the L 21-13. Frisco came in with a chance to secure the division on our ground. They secured the division. Kind of frustrating. So I just want to touch on this. Listen. Offense, and these are the 3 freaking keys. On offense, we have to do what we call man up. I've been talking about it. You've been talking about it. Top Gun's talking about it, not even on the air, about how you have to control the line of scrimmage. That's where we're falling short. Pretty much on defense as well for the most part. Now, they stepped their game up in the game against Frisco, and I'll highlight that if anybody needs it. But there was one big splash play on the ground with McCaffrey. He took it for 54 yards. You take that out of the equation, which you can't really do. But if you take it out of the equation, it's a very respectable amount of ground yards we gave up on defense. Big improvement from the 4 weeks prior. Okay, but that's Frisco. The line of scrimmage is where it's all at. And I like Austin Blythe, our center. But as you would say, he's on roller skates sometimes, and he's getting hammered by these bigger D linemen. And we do play a lot of elite ones, but he's not getting it done. And if your center's the weak spot, no matter how good your guards and tackles are, your offensive line is going to be a mess.
Pushback.
And they've been wreaking havoc on our offensive line right out the gate. Running backs getting blasted as soon as they touch the ball. Gino's getting blasted as soon as he gets in his drop. That's why they're in that ridiculous shotgun all the time, because he needs that extra couple of seconds. So that's a problem. We got to get this done on the line of scrimmage offensively and defensively, but we got a couple problems. We got Tyler Lockett, who broke his hand. He broke his index finger in the San Francisco game.
I think he's out for a couple weeks.
At least a couple of weeks. And so we got to have somebody step up. Will that be the rookie Derek Young? Will that be Penny Hart, some of the guys already on the roster, or what? But guess what? Somebody has to freaking step up, B Gold. And that's why I'm going to segue into what the Vikings did in a minute. I got to talk about the defense briefly. All right?
You got all the time in the world, dude.
Really? I mean, our coaches used to hammer this on us. Getting to the ball to make the play and then making the play are 2 separate functions. Half of it is getting there. You bust your butt to watch tendencies, study film, figure out angles, get yourself in position to make a play. And then when you get yourself in position to make a play, the other half is to make the play. Diggs, example, studies film, reads this guy's eyes. He knows where to be. The ball's in his chest. The game is on the line.
You got to finish.
You got to finish. Otherwise, you can't be on the field. If I'm coaching you, you can't be on the field consistently till we can get you where you need to be at. So you got to get to the playmaking location, and then you got to make the play. That's what's destroying us on defense. It really is. Stop trying to be if you're the first person to get to the ball carrier, stop trying to take the kill shot, break down, wrap up, and let the cleanup crew come in and clean up. Stop trying to be on the highlights. Stop the ball carrier. And then we can be disciplined in that. Stop missing all these ridiculous tackles that make
Too
me
much
and the
stripping,
12s
but it's
frustrated.
not just the Seahawks. Too many people trying just to strip the ball. They're not trying to tackle.
That's a discipline thing. Every once in a while, you can get a guy like Peanut Johnson, or what was Peanut's last name for the Bears, that can knock the ball out of everybody's hands. And Tyreek Woolen is good at it too, but you're not there yet because you got to focus on what you're supposed to do first because he had a coverage break. And next thing you know, Kittle's laughing into the end zone. And the effort that I saw from, I don't even want to call him out, but the effort I saw from two Seahawks defenders to try to stop that man, if I was the coach, they're out of the game. They're out because it's not fair to the person that's on the bench that's been busting their butt trying to show you that they're ready to play. And you got people out there in the moment giving half effort.
Oh,
even
yeah,
for
on the
one
sideline.
play.
Yeah, I saw it on the
Even for one play. What are you doing, man? I would have got ran over, but I would have ran up and hit him. Because I know Kittle can probably get me, especially at my age right now. He got me in my prime.
I don't know which touchdown it was to Kittle, but Purdy with a fake to the left and a fake.
That was a beautiful play.
That was a beautiful
play. But see, now this is the thing on defense because he looked three different ways.
Yep.
And it opened it up. He looked left, he looked right, and then he opened up Kittle. But if you're playing defense,
they still should have tackled him.
That was a cover three zone for Tyreek, and he still got to get his depth.
Yep.
You got to own the top of that route, every route in your zone. And so he's a rookie. That's my guy still. He'll get better from it, and it probably won't happen again anytime soon. So lastly, let me just touch on the special teams. I got to say what's up to Tanner Muse, who actually ended up starting at linebacker because Aaron Brooks had something with his neck, and they had him out of the game. And this guy, for the last 3 or 4 weeks, if not longer, has been making good tackles on kickoff team, and I've been watching it, and punt team. So he comes in and he's, calling defenses with my man Cody Barton. He did a good job. Guess what he did, Big Old? He was making tackles. Kind of paid to do it. But to my point, John Radigan, too, was on IR for a minute. West Point grad. Love that. This dude fought his way back through injury, got some reps on defense, and was making himself shown. And he had a couple of nice plays on special teams, too. So you got effort and you're disciplined, you can ride with me all day long. So we'll see what happens because I think they're going to put pressure on guys that start. So we lost both games. We've lost 4 out of the 5 last games. Prior to that, we won 4 in a row. We were feeling good, B-Gold. Not feeling so good right now.
I think because both of them were at home hurts a little harder.
Well, it does because we used to have something going on at home. And right now, Carolina came in, they were what? They were 4-8, and they said, let's take their lunch from them. And we couldn't even stop them.
They had the bag of groceries that weekend.
They did. They ate. So we took 2 L's. We got a chance to play a powerhouse on Saturday night, Christmas Eve, in their home. How will we respond?
We're going to see when you do the picks.
So that kind of catches me up to speed. And, the Emerald Nation is frustrated because we have so much talent, but you got to do it for 4 quarters. I look at your team, the Minnesota Vikings, and I have a tip of the cap when it's time, but I'm proud of what your team did because it's so easy to lay down, and then you see the person next to you laying down and not giving efforts like, dude, this is over. Let's not get hurt. Captain Kirk Cousins said, if my arm falls off today, so let it be. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about.
And you know what? Let's move on to the tip of the cap from the Cap.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to possibly shock a few of you, but the tip of the cap for not last week's game against the Panthers where we lost, or the tip of the cap for the 49ers game, the tip of the cap didn't even take place in the Emerald Nation. It took place in the treasure-filled valleys of the Minnesota Vikings for not quitting. I'm giving the tip of the cap to your squad, all of them, because they said, you know what, man? No, it's not nice. It's not pretty, but we about to step this thing up and see where we fall. So they did it. They swung, and they knocked out the opponent. And got a
You're going to
W.
love what I have later today. That adds on to exactly that. You're going to love it.
I was proud of y'all, man. Straight up, tip of the cap. And my homeboy Anthony Ray Moore, T-Bone Ski from Montana State, was in the building. He couldn't connect because he had a phone issue with his battery. We got to get that fixed, bro. But it's too bad you and B Gold and the Real Gun didn't get a chance to link up live. But it's all good. It's all love.
We tried. I sent a snapshot and I actually meandered my way over to his section, but I didn't know who I was looking for.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. It's all. Yeah, it's all good. It was loud in there.
It was loud in there. All right,
it's all good.
Let's move on to open items. We only have one. Last week, Captain Vuk had a bye week, so I got the picks recap wrong. So actually, I was 6-7 for that week, and Cap was 7-6. Cap is whittled down.
Not by much.
Whittled down the falling behind. He's down to 4 games. All right. Let's move on to the new segment by the numbers. Cap wasn't here last week, so I did number 15. So, Cap, why don't you give us number 15 for the Seahawks? And you know what? Why don't you roll right into number 16, and then I'll finish off with number 16 for the Vikings.
I can do that for my brother. So let's check it out. Number 15, we had quite a few people wear number 15. So check it out. Here's the list. Doug Baldwin, Dave Finzer, cold cup of coffee right there. Matt Flynn, quarterback. Marquise Goodwin, he's with us now, and I'm liking what he's bringing to the table. Jermaine Kearse, my guy from the Tack Town, Lakewood, really, represented and put it down for the Seahawks and got that Super Bowl ring. So does Dougie Fresh, though. Jeff Kemp, another quarterback from back in the day. Brandon Marshall was with us for a hot second. Brandon Stokely was with us for a hot second. Cody Thompson, John Ursua, who was with us till this year, and Seneca Wallace, a quarterback.
That's a pretty easy one. Doug Baldwin, right?
Well, because Doug Baldwin's final number wasn't 15.
Oh,
He had it for a hot second. So I got to ride with the homie from Tacoma again, Jermaine Kearse. I got to give it to him.
All right, Jermaine Kearse.
He wore it throughout his time there, and he balled out. And I used to say in front of my television with nobody looking, when Russell got into trouble, I used to tell Russell, when you get into trouble, throw it to the homie from Tacoma. This guy wouldn't let him down. Made him look good.
Dougie Fresh was trying to represent 2 numbers.
Dougie Fresh is my dude. When we get to his number, it's going down. That's my mom's favorite Seahawk.
I know. So if it was your mom, she would have gave him both numbers.
She probably would have. She said, whatever you want, Doug. You can have it, baby. You want some more to eat?
What do you got for number 16?
All right, so number 16, I start out with my dude, Michael Bumpus, Washington State Cougar receiver. Came up the hard way and made the squad. Got love for him. And he's got a good show that he does, too. Chris Durham, never, ever heard of him. Charles Glaze, I don't know if that's a stage name for a movie actor or what. Tyler Lockett rocks 16 at the moment. Future Hall of Famer, in my opinion. Steve Meyer, don't know who that is. Tom Ruin, I remember him. And then Robert Wilson. So that's got to go to T-Lock, a.k.a. the Rocket. Tyler's got that all day. Tyler, heal up, man, and make sure you heal up correctly so you don't make yourself worse in the future.
Yeah,
Take care of that finger, man.
Don't pull a Russell Wilson on us.
He's gonna Tyler's gonna do Tyler.
I'm saying finger.
Yeah, no, he ain't gonna. He didn't have that hammer or mallet finger.
Mallet finger, he did not.
Yeah, I don't know how bad the break is, but he said he seems optimistic. He feel like he's gonna come back soon.
He said 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully we make the playoffs and he can come help us. But we got a lot of work to do, B Gold.
I looked at the schedule. You still have a shot.
We have a shot.
All right,
I'm happy about it.
Vikings at war in number 16. Quarterbacks Norm Snead, 1971. You know, he was just a
back in the
cup
day.
of coffee back with us. Kelly Campbell, 2002 to 2004. I don't even know who he is. Emmanuel Archino, 2011. He was a wide receiver. Matt Castle came over as a backup quarterback from 13 to 14. Lewis Sine, the rookie that we had this year, out for the season after breaking his leg on a special teams play. And finally, Rich Gannon, 87 to 92 with the Vikings. The Patriots drafted him as a quarterback, but they wanted him to play wide receiver. And he said, I'm not playing wide receiver. So they traded him to the Vikings.
He said, I'm going to do what I do.
He had a decent career with the Vikings before he moved on. And I believe won a Super Bowl with the Raiders.
Good for him.
Rich Gannon, even though he didn't win the Super Bowl with the Vikings, He played well for 5 years, so not many number 16s on the Viking squad. I'm giving it to Rich Gannon.
And real quick on Matt Castle, was that after the deal when he tried to come to us from Green Bay and Russell took his job, basically? Did you guys pick him up
could
after
be.
that?
Yeah, he might.
Yeah.
You guys might have cut him. We just signed him as a backup quarterback. I'm not sure. He might have started 1 or 2 games.
Okay.
All right, let's move into the fun facts for the week. Let's get to fun fact number 1.
I know you're gonna dig this.
The Vikings are now 10-0. 10-0 in one-score games this season. Fun fact number 2.
I know you're gonna dig this.
Head coach Kevin O'Connell told the media after the game that at halftime, cornerback Pat Pete told the team, we're going to get stops. You just need 5 touchdowns. That's what he said to Kurt.
I love it.
And he said, Kurt,
I love it.
Kurt, that's nothing. You got this. He was right. Vikings win!
That's a leader.
Fun fact number 3.
I know you're gonna dig this.
Number 3?
Number
Okay,
3.
I thought that was number 1 for some reason.
No.
My bad. I'm so hyped up that you're going so fast. It's hard to see you.
Frank Reich no longer has the greatest comeback in NFL history because the guy the Colts replaced him with blew a bigger lead than Frank overcame. Before Saturday, the largest NFL comeback was a Bills-Oilers playoff game in 1992 that was by 32 points. The Vikings broke that record by winning 39-36 in OT against the Colts after being down by 33.
Can I add to that?
Of course you can.
Can I add my fun fact to that?
Yes.
I know
As you
you're
just
gonna
said,
dig this.
Frank Reich, who led that comeback,
Yep.
was fired
That
this
was the
year
point, yeah.
by the Colts. So, Colts, what's going on, man?
That was the point. And if you guys see I'm drinking a lot of water today, my voice is shot. But I'm
awesome.
trying to make it through the podcast. I'm going to make it through
He
the podcast.
will make it.
I'm gonna,
You kidding
and you know
me?
what? I'm making it. All right. Fun fact number 4.
I
Frank.
know you're gonna dig this.
That's my bad. I made a mistake there. Frank Reich texted Kirk Cousins shortly after the game. He said, for 30 years, that moment has given me an opportunity to share many things about football and life. Tell people about my faith.
There you go.
And now the torch has been passed to you, Mr. Cousins.
I like it a lot. I like that a lot.
Mr. Frank Reich, thank you.
Well done.
All right. Not so fun fact number 1.
Uh-oh.
There were 2 overturned fumble return touchdowns by Shandon Sullivan, both of which were blown dead by the officials. Get it right.
Jumping the gun.
Let the play end and then make the decision. You got all this replay. Stop blowing the whistle.
Blow it when you need to. Man.
And I never have 2 not so fun fact number 2, but I got one today. Not so fun fact number 2.
Hit him with it.
Colts kicker added a 27-yarder just before halftime to make it 33-0 at the half. The second worst halftime deficit in Viking history. The only bigger one was in Seattle in 2002 when the Vikings trailed the Seahawks by a score of 45-10 in a game where Shaun Alexander had 5 touchdowns.
I remember that.
In the first half. Seahawks ended up winning that game 48-23.
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay, so it's a not so fun fact for my team, but you know what? Again, our paths cross. I played both ways. I threw it in there.
And Sean may make the Hall of Fame.
He may.
So good for him.
Okay, let's move on to the ridiculous article/comment of the week. The Minnesota Vikings orchestrated the largest comeback in NFL history, as I've said multiple times, and I'll continue to say it.
Yeah, the key is to not get down by that much, but
And according to NFL.com analyst Greg Rosenthal, Kirk Cousins didn't really have much to do with it.
he didn't.
That's what this guy said.
Do you think
He said,
Let's just hear
he
this.
tweeted late in the fourth quarter, it is very Kirk Cousins should not be playing that well during our 33-point comeback. What was that dude watching? Cousins was money. It was money.
that might be hate right there? I mean, what are you saying?
Let it be clear. Let it be clear. Crystal clear. It's mind-boggling. Absolutely mind-boggling that any human being, especially a guy paid by the NFL to think he's a professional analyst. You're not, Greg. Get out of the game. Could watch the second half of that game and come up with a statement that Cousins wasn't playing well. Get me. Find out where this guy broadcasted. I want to meet him.
Here's the answer to that whole situation. Frank Reich, the man who was the architect of the previous biggest comeback in history, called your guy, not that reporter. So where's the respect going? It's going to the right spot from the right guy. So those are words, kind of hollow.
Right. Cousins slung 4 touchdown passes on 417 passing yards in the second half.
Exactly.
It's the most passing yards the same in 45 years.
I mean, maybe he's trying to get some attention. I don't know. He got a little bit from you, bro, from the real deal.
Yeah, I want to fight him.
No, you don't need to do that to him.
I want to find him.
Oh my gosh.
Somebody find out where this guy, where we, let's just go to breakfast, Greg. Let's go to breakfast. Let's talk about this.
What's the Vikings record now? Where y'all at?
We're 11-3.
11-3.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Greg, you got that? Did your Captain Book tell you that?
That's all you got to say.
11-3.
Done deal.
House music. Welcome to the 479, the home of the rhythm and the rhyme. We'll never bow down to the other shows. The 479 is the one that knows. Not followers. We are leaders, exceeders, sharp as cleavers. As Snap would say, don't believe the hype. Ours is the show that's the prototype. The 479 is for sure legit. Can I get a witness? We make the picks during the show, making you the money, as you know. Helping you pick your fantasy squad back in the day was Ahmad Rashad. Lynch, Largent, Target, and Moss, with them in our lineup, there was no loss. HOUSE, 479 is where we be. The deal, the booth, and the gun, sharing our knowledge, having some fun. Thanks for hanging and joining our flow week to week, another new show. House music will take us out. It's old school, there is no doubt. House music.
Vikings on the 36-yard line, 2:28 on the clock. No timeouts remaining. Cousins in the shotgun. Here's a screen out to the left of Cook. Got blockers in front of him. Cuts to the middle. Splits the defenders. Dalvin Cook looks like the deep safety's going to get him. He got by him. Got some blockers. He's in his end zone. Touchdown! Touchdown! Dalvin Cook! The crowd is going crazy! House and house!
Be gold. That was exciting, man.
It was exciting. I was there.
I know you were. That's why this question is so relevant. You got to tell me, when he was getting his way to the end zone, how loud did that crowd get?
Well, the ones that stayed, I mean, it was pretty loud.
It had to be loud.
I think some of them were just in the concourse shopping, but yeah, it was extremely loud. The place was going bonkers.
I bet they're running back in after that, huh?
It was phenomenal.
That was
Actually, they
awesome.
put a stamp on your hand so you could get back in, but it was out of this world.
And how about the big fella getting downfield and
Two
seeing
big
what
fellas,
he could do?
two big.
Yeah,
Ezra Cleveland and Darisaw.
that's that no quit mentality right there. It's
They
right
were there. They made it downfield, and Cook runs pretty fast.
and they played a role in helping get this done. So
Exactly.
that's what I love.
And Cook
man.
said
That's what I love
after
it.
the play that the Ezra Cleveland helped him stay back in bounds because he bounced off him.
You gotta love it.
Great
Teamwork at a high level.
Great taking it to the house.
No doubt. Maybe we can participate next week.
We're looking forward to it.
Yeah, so are we. We'll keep trying.
Let's move on. Let's move on to the real deal rant of the week. He's been waiting to get in here all show. And he's got 2 rants this week.
Talk to us, real deal.
Offensively, the Vikings had 2 interceptions, including a pick 6. Neither were Cousins' fault. Captain Kirk, not his fault. They were wide receiver Jalen Reagor's fault on both.
Uh-oh.
The first, adjusting the coverage after Cousins released the ball, resulting in an easy pick 6. The second, Reagor gave up on the play
Not
and
good.
didn't finish his route, not knowing he had been targeted. Pay attention, dude. Reagor, at this point, pretty decent punt return, but he's not reliable enough to warrant any more playing time with the offense. This is the same guy who guaranteed a victory last week on the road against the Lions. He supplied bulletin board material. We don't need that.
And you have a kick returner and a punt returner, don't you?
Well, Nwangu returns
happened to
kicks.
him?
Rager's been doing
Let
punts.
Nwangu do both.
Yeah, well,
He's dynamic.
I'm not against that.
If
All
this
right.
guy, but yeah, whatever.
Rant number 2. We've had one discussion about officiating in the National Football League this year. Back when Minnesota came back and were able to defeat the proclaimed champion Buffalo Bills, despite getting hosed by the officials on a couple of plays. But yesterday, the Vikings completed the biggest comeback in history, like I've already said 3 times, maybe 4. And it might not have been necessary if the crew, who was headed by Trey Blake, didn't have some more awful calls.
Uh-oh.
Both plays involved similar situations. Fumbling the ball into the hands of Vikings cornerback Shandon Sullivan, who then went untouched into the end zone for apparent Viking touchdowns. He could have been on the taking it to house saving it, but the ref screwed him.
Uh-oh.
The first one came in the second quarter as Matt Ryan completed a short pass to Michael Pittman, who fumbled while being dragged down trying to get extra yards. Cat, we had a discussion about this, and you were saying that dude was still trying to go forward.
Right.
Sullivan picked up the football and went towards the end zone, but they said the play was blown dead, saying Pittman's forward progress had been stopped.
Remember when we played the Rams and Bobby Wagner had that controversial interception?
Yes. The guy was still fighting for yardage.
So, I mean, they got to get some consistency here.
And forward progress is not reviewable. Here's the only one thing I'll ever say I love about Bill Belichick.
What's that?
He says be able to use your 3 review of plays for anything.
Oh, yeah. I'd like to see that
Anything.
enacted.
So let's get that going. All right. Rather than them getting a scoop and score, the Colts punted the ball away and pinned the Vikings inside their own 10 line. A couple plays later, Cousins threw a pick 6. That was a result of this. I mean, it's awful. The second one happened in the fourth quarter. Colts running back Deion Jackson took a handoff from Ryan and fumbled after Zadarius Smith lit him up. The ball again bounced into the hands of Sullivan, who had a clear path to the end zone for what would have been a tying touchdown. You know, of course, pending the 2-point conversion.
Yes.
The officials ruled that Jackson was down by contact. The guy never hit the ground. He was standing upright. Fortunately,
Oh, boy.
and again, the runner by down contact, another thing that cannot be reviewed. You got it. If you have these challenges, you would have won both challenges. Anyway,
Frustrating.
Blake's crew blew their whistles way too early, let the play finish out, and then do that. Those were 2 game-shifting defensive touchdowns. We get killed on defense,
Critical.
and we live on turnovers. We need that.
You do. You do. We need consistency from the refs. And just don't try to put yourself in a position where they can sway the game. And again, I've said it before and I'll say it again. That's why I'm a favor of blowouts with my team on top, of course.
Of course.
Because it takes away all that nonsense when bad calls start creeping into the game flow and messing up momentum.
I need to mix a blowout too, but that hasn't happened in years.
Well, we have a lot of one-score games except for the one we lost to, was it Detroit early in the season? But all of our losses have been 1 scores. We're in there, but it's just painful to always take the L.
That's parity in the NFL right now.
Yeah, it is. It is. You got to get over the hump or you're going to take the L.
All right, let's move to the next segment. All right, let's move to Outside the Box with the Real Deal. My voice is starting to fade. Let's talk about the Miracle at the Met event recap. It was supposed to go 5:30 to 9:30. It actually went to 10:30. What a wonderful event. Here's a photo of me sitting with Carl Eller, one of the original Purple People Eaters, who I sat with for the whole event.
Legend.
Legend. All right, let's move to another picture of me and Carl Lee, safety Carl Lee. You know, me hanging out,
There you go.
having some fun, talking old school Vikings. I then got my Bud Grant autograph on my collectible Vikings football. Let's get that up here. I got the Vikings football, the collectible with all their the championships champions that they won for their divisions and stuff. And there's the legendary Bud Grant
Nice.
signing the football. And
Mark that date down, bro. Don't forget the date you were there.
he wanted my it matched up with the Miracle to Met, so it's kind of, I think it's the
Historic.
16th. It's kind of easy one to that. But it was great. Bud Bud actually wanted my jacket, my blazer that I wore because it was a Vikings. He kept asking me how to do it. We couldn't work out a deal,
But Kurt could.
I told Bud that I'd send him the link if they were still available. So I'm gonna follow through with that. Okay. I also met Tommy Kramer, Paul Krause, the all-time NFL interception leader, who had a good conversation with him about 81 interceptions that nobody will ever catch.
You gave him his props
Yep.
in our historical recap.
Exactly. Met Keith Millard, Scott Studwell, cornerback Nate Wright, and Joey Browner. So let me tell you something
Nice.
about Joey Browner. Joey Browner, he was not on the original list of attendees. I didn't know he was going. But Joey and I spoke when I was there about the preseason game in Miami, August 31st of 1990, where he signed a shirt that I had his 1990 Fleer football car airbrushed on. And the opposite side was a Bart Simpson being a Viking fan. And I have that framed.
I've seen that.
Yeah,
I've seen that.
up in my sports memorabilia room. So during the event, because I didn't put my hand down, I mean, I was a pain in the neck at this event. I'm sitting with Carl Eller. I'm raising my hand. I need to get a question. I finally got one. I was asked to call a question direct, and I directed it to Bud Grant, and I said, who was the guy on that team for the Miracle to Met team that you leaned on to keep the locker room in line? And
Who did he say?
And Bud, it was like a 3-minute answer. He
Really?
said, yeah, he said, well, this guy has always been the guy since I became head coach early on that I made sure I didn't have to deal with anything. I wanted the players to deal with their own stuff. And it was Jim Marshall.
Is that right?
Yes, Carl End,
Wow.
bookend, defensive end.
That's cool.
And he talked about Jim Marshall, I'm telling you, for almost 3 minutes. And you know,
Respect.
yeah, definitely respect. It was a great, wonderful event. I got there early. They had food. Good conversations, good questions. If you go on to YouTube and watch the Miracle to Met footage, it's awful. But they had crystal clear footage of that play at the event. So I don't know where they got it.
nice.
Probably NFL Films, but it was spot on.
good.
I had a great time. It was a wonderful weekend for me.
Good for you.
Wonderful weekend for me.
Celebratory weekend.
So it was. I'm not going to tell how old I was, but it was my birthday
Yes, it was.
present, and I wouldn't have traded it for anything. I will say at halftime, I did call. I'll say it again. I called the Cap and Top Gun and said, I'm so glad I had a good time last night because it's 33-0.
Not feeling good. But there's more to battle.
Exactly, but you know what? That was just a preview on how well my birthday present was going to go.
Historic.
All right, let's move on to the Week 16 preview. Cap, give us a preview of the Seahawks.
Yeah, this will be real quick. We've played the Kansas City Chiefs 52 times. They've won 33. We've won 19. We're old AFC West rivals. I already spoke about it earlier. We got work to do, and we got a chance to maybe have less distractions in their house and see how we stack up. How hungry are we? And I'll close out with that theme.
All right, great. There's one thing that I did not mention. When I was in the Polaris Club, there was a family there, Susan and her husband, who was a Patriot fan. I think his name was Gary, and he was a Patriot fan.
Okay.
And and they were both up in the Polaris Club, and their sons were down sitting in the seats. And when after the Vikings scored the first touchdown, they texted them and said, "Don't come back down to the seats. You're jinxing us." So they stayed up in the Polaris Club and the whole time, and nobody wanted to move because nobody wanted to jinx anything.
Nobody wanted to mess it up the flow.
But I mean, what a great family it was, and I got to meet the sons at the end when I was high fiving about 1,600 people. So a great family. The Polaris Club was really fun. It's just Viking fans, Minnesota nice they call it. It was a really good time.
That'll be the next stop when I can get over there again.
All right. So before we get to our picks, let's see how we did last week. The Real Deal stepped up his game and went 10-6, and the cap was 8-8. So now I've increased my lead from 4 to 6 games. Yearly totals, Real Deal. Look at this record: 134-72 and 2 ties. Cap 128-78 and 2 ties. Both are very respectable. Cap, we're doing a good job on the picks this year.
We're not doing bad, and you have the edge, which is cool.
But you're the former champion. You took year one.
Hold on, just like last year, you won in fantasy. So
yeah, so we're just swapping roles here.
Trying to.
All right, let's get to the picks.
Yo, it's time for the picks, the weekly predictions by them guys. Get your notebooks out because they rarely miss. Make way for Captain Book when he makes his picks. You can't touch this dude. Reppin' Hawks in the Emerald Nation. All units, battle stations. So welcome to the battle zone. It's a place where Captain Book is never alone. With his guide, he goes by his side. Sporting purple, always ready to ride. A real Viking maniac. Never afraid to go on the attack. And when needed, in comes the real deal. He's got a real feel for NFL skill. So listen close and get the word. Don't be the one who hadn't heard about Captain Book and Boot Gold. Dropping knowledge, truth be told. The picks. Battle tested.
All right, so I'm running on fumes. So I did not do my week 16 preview with the Giants. All-time series, Vikings lead 17-12. So that's all I got. So let's move to the picks.
Let's jump in.
Thursday, Jaguars at the Jets. The Jaguars are on a roll. They beat the Cowpokes in nice fashion.
Surprising fashion.
So I got Jaguars keeping it going, 24-20.
I got the New York Football Jets getting it done at home, 27-21. I need some upsets.
All right. Saturday games. Most of the games are on Saturday this weekend, Christmas Eve. Got Atlanta at the Ravens. I got the Ravens holding on at home, 23-20.
I have Atlanta getting Baltimore squared away. Atlanta 17, Baltimore 10.
I think, is Lamar back this week? We'll see.
I don't know, but they don't look good.
They do not.
They don't look good at all.
Atlanta's playing Ritter now. They benched, actually, he's out for the year, Marcus Mariota, so they're playing Ritter. All right, we got the Lions visiting the Panthers. I got the Lions getting above 500, 24-23.
I got Detroit sneaking this out on the road, 28-27. That should be a good game.
I agree. All right, Bills going to the Windy City to take on the Bears. I got the Bills winning on the road, 27-19.
I got Buffalo getting it done, 30-20 over Chicago.
Okay.
Little stampede coming.
New Orleans at Cleveland.
Crescent.
Browns get their second victory in a row, 27-23.
The Saints get their second victory in a row, 28-24.
28-24. All right, here we are. Seahawks.
Here we go.
On the road at the Chiefs. This is the moment of truth for the Cap. This is the moment of truth. The moment of truth. We're going to see just how much of a love zone there is.
Hey, we ain't going to see nothing but prediction.
I got
this is a prediction.
So you're going to give me a game back here. I got the Chiefs are too much for the Seahawks, 30-20.
That's cool. I got the Seattle Seahawks proving that they are professionals and have pride, and they're going to go on the road with no distractions and win against a good Kansas City football team, 24-21.
24-21.
Go Hawks!
You want to bet a lunch on that?
Let's go, man. You gonna have me? You gonna be paying for your lunch all 2023? I gotta stop taking these bets with you.
I know. I'm already booking. I'm already booking the last one.
Month of January covered.
I'm already booking the last one. All right, we got the G-Men
New York.
visiting U.S. Bank Stadium and take on the Vikings. I will tell you this. After such an emotional win, I'm not comfortable in this game. I'm not. But you know what? I think maybe the locker room, after that big comeback, it's going to be a close one, but I think we survived 27-21.
You need home momentum going into the playoffs, regardless of if you just clinched or not. So I think your team is going to come out hot and see if New York can match. I don't think they can unless everything is flawless on their offense. But I got the Vikings winning at home 30-14 against a game New York Giants team.
All right, let's move on to the Bengals at the Patriots. I got the Bengals continuing to roll 30-16.
I see Cincinnati beating New England 34-21. I also see a win there.
Texans have been playing really well. Visiting the Titans. Titans have been struggling, but they've been playing some tough games. So I got the Titans winning at home 24-16.
Yeah, I see Tennessee going ahead and putting in work at home 31-7. They're gonna try to get hot right now.
Wow. All right. This is a good game. Commanders at the 49ers.
Yes.
But I got the 49ers dimming the Commanders' playoff chances 20-17.
Yeah, I see the San Francisco striking gold at home 38-17.
8-17. Okay. Eagles at Dallas. I'm not sure if Jalen Hurts plays, so that'll affect my choice.
It would?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to assume that he is out. And I have written down here that the Cowpokes are going to win 24-20, but you know what? I think the Cowpokes are frauds. I think Jerry Jones, and we know McCarthy is a fraud. He lied to Jerry Jones on the interview. So, you know, I'm changing this.
Pick Philly.
I'm gonna even though they're frauds, I'm taking the Cowpokes. If Jalen Hurts isn't playing, I'm not
You
sure.
don't know that, though. He might play.
I'm not sure Gardner Minshew is any good. I'm taking Dallas.
Washington State Cougar product?
I'm taking Dallas 24-20.
All right. Tried to get you to flip.
I know you did.
I got Dallas winning at home 24-21. We have a pretty close score there.
I played a little defense on that one because I could feel you were going to pick the Cowboys.
I shouldn't have said nothing, but it's all good. I'll put that card out there accidentally. That's all good.
The Raiders going to the Steel City.
What's going to happen?
Raiders ride the momentum of their win against the Pats and win on the road 26-23.
Pittsburgh gets the W at home 17-10. That team is coming together.
Okay, let's move to the 3 Sunday games.
Here we go. Christmas Day.
Packers swim into Miami, but they're frozen. So the Dolphins put a damper on the Packers' playoff hopes 30-23.
I see the Packer getting that done at home. Excuse me, the Dolphins getting that done at home 27-24.
Broncos, led by Mr. Russell Wilson, going to the Rams, who looked dismantled yesterday.
Is he back? Because I saw they moved him from out to questionable.
Who's that? Russell Wilson? Is he out?
He was out last week with a concussion.
Ah, he's playing this week. Russ does enough. He cooks. And he pushes the Seahawks pick back further.
He cooks in another city, in another kitchen.
23-20, Broncos win.
I see Denver squeezing this out as well, getting a 2-game winning streak. Denver 17, LA Rams 16.
Tampa Bay, old man Brady, going up to Arizona. Arizona, they're a shell of themselves.
They are something different.
So I get the Bucks get a bounce back win and 27-19.
I see a little closer than that. I see Tampa Bay winning at home, on the road, 21-20 over the Arizona Cardinals.
All right, that finishes up the fantasy football segment.
Got one more game.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. No apology necessary.
I don't have what's the last game? I don't even have it. What
We
is
got
it?
the Monday night game on December 26th.
Who's playing?
You got the Indianapolis Colts at home hosting the Los Angeles Chargers.
Chargers. All right, I don't even have that one on there. So I'm going to take, that's an easy one.
Who you got?
I got the Chargers 31-14.
Wow. I have to take the Colts at home 28-21. So I have a chance to recover
21.
or go further into the dungeon.
I did not have that game.
I got you covered.
All right, that finishes our picks. Let's move on to the fantasy football segment. It's time for fantasy
which teams can walk the walk. Each week, new matchups take place. All teams gunning for first place. Set your lineups, hope for the best. Your team might be good, but mine's the best. Make trades along the way. Ain't gonna help you, you might wanna pray. To be the best, you gotta beat the deal. Lots of luck, cause my team's for real. Let's get to the segment, start the chat. Hey, Book, what you say about that?
It's Captain Boo, and I'm running on the field like a wild one. Fantasy strategy that is second to none. I'm casting spells like a mad magician. I make so many damn moves, just like a mathematician. Without my fantasy logic, you just be hoping and wishing. And if you don't pay attention, your team will need a mortician. So check out Captain Boo and how I lay down my roster. I'm so dialed there could never be an imposter. With this fantasy ball, this segment's for y'all. So don't miss our calls for your fantasy brawl. This Captain Boo can be gold, so avoid the wreck. For your fantasy success, put our knowledge on deck. It's the fantasy segment. Get in.
And we are in, and we're in the playoff bracket. Emerald Nation Monsterizers.
Shout out.
Caps team eliminated the self-proclaimed champion, New Haven Naturals, Mackerels, 141 to 127. Hey, dude, you didn't win any playoff games. You said you were the greatest drafter in fantasy football history. You couldn't even win one playoff game. What do you say about that, Kev?
Hey, Book, you saying what I say about that? Hey, you know what? You got to show up or show out. And we're, it's game time, crunch time. We're trying to get work done. Trying to get us a trophy.
The Mackerels are out.
Last year we took it on the chin, but this year we're trying to put knuckles on chins. So, in the proverbial sense, of
and
course.
You did that this week.
That was a tough win, but we're happy to get it and move forward.
Second, it wasn't a tough one. You destroyed them. Access Lord, the other matchup fell to Smells What's Cooking, 144 to 119. So the championship game is set up. Our second championship season. The Real Deal took year one. Had a tough injury year this year, but he's the only one to defeat Smells With Cooking, not once, but twice. But the championship game features the Emerald Nation Monsterizers, coached by the Cap.
What's happening?
Against Smells With Cooking.
That's my guy. I know that coach very well. Should be a good battle.
We'll see what the outcome is, and can't wait to talk about it next week. That finishes up our fantasy football segment.
It's B Gold, back on the mic, dropping lyrics I know you'll like. The league is now on alert. The Real Deal is bringing the hurt. New challengers every season. Why worry? There is no reason. Teams might win some games. At the end of the day, I forget their name. A new season and more pretenders. New Haven Naturals is the lead offender. Like all the others who come to town, this dude is just another clown. Over the years, I put to rest any questions that I'm the best.
Whose team is the best? I'm Captain Book, and I'm the coach. And on the fantasy field, we'll never choke. Keep testing my crew, and you'll lose hope. You see, the Emerald Nation Monsterizers are no joke. And here's the note to the rest of the league. When dealing with trauma, you gotta stop the bleed. So here's a warning to all teams. Brace. This is Captain Book, and this is my place. So as we close out another nice section, perhaps next week, your team will be flexed, and we're having fun, and we hope you are too. This is the Captain and the Real Deal Fantasy Season 2.
It's a podcast built to last. The podcast, we're having a blast. It's a podcast built to last. The podcast, we're having a blast. Normally I'm found on the wheels of steel, but the time has come to drop the field. B Gold is a name that I spin under, but the Real Deal's a guy who brings the thunder. Back in the day, it was 5 minutes of funk. The deal's on the mic, he ain't no punk. It's cool when I see you break to the beat. As Eric Beat stated, don't sweat the technique. My lyrics will stand the test of time. Working the crowd with my rhyme. Now it's time to get to the show. Bringing the info so you know it's a podcast built to last. The podcast, we're having a blast. It's a podcast built to last. The podcast, we're having a blast. If you want history, check 1 and 2. All the episodes have something new. From the front to the back or the bottom to the top. The episodes deliver from the knowledge we drop. The cap is the rhyme and I am the rhythm. Like the defense, we are gonna hit them. With the fun facts and the skull jam. The real deal will continue to rant. Cap brings Hawks news to the show. Never losing sight, keeping the flow. The blue and the emerald green. Cap will tell you who's on the scene. Delivering hits on game day. The bam bam moment for today. It's the podcast built to last. The podcast, we're having a blast. Another episode is in the books. Keeping it real with the hooks. Tune in again later next week to hear more from the streets. Bringing the news for our teams. Nothing's off limit, so it seems. Thanks for hanging, checking us out. We'll be back, there is no doubt.
All right. Thanks for tuning into the podcast today. It was an epic weekend for myself. But
tell your whole nation.
Tell your friends, families, and coworkers about the show and have them tune in, subscribe, and follow the show. Week 16 for the Vikes is a home game versus the Giants, their final home game of the year. Next episode, we're going to recap Week 16. Vikings have clinched the NFC North, but need to keep on keeping on so they can stay at the number 2 seed. Hey, Cap, bring us home.
Skol just handled their business like we spoke about earlier. All grit, no quit. I love it. It was an epic mixed with a little catastrophic and topped off in heroic fashion, but it worked. Hey, hungry dogs, hungry cats, hungry Vikings eat. That's been proven. Odin doesn't allow anything else. But if you want to be on the team, you got to do your part. So I want to see what Hungry Hawks do, Be Gold Top Gun. Show the Emerald Nation what you're willing to do to eat, fellas, because if you don't, you know the law of the wild. Only the strong survive. So don't get eaten. Let's go. Emerald up. Merry Christmas, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to the Captain and the Real Deal show. We'll see y'all next week. Peace.
Skol Vikings, let's win this game. Skol Vikings, honor your name. Go get that first down, then get a touchdown. Rock 'em, sock 'em, fight, fight, fight. Go Vikings, run up the score. You'll hear us yell for more. Vikings, Skol Vikings, let's go.
Emerald up. Let's get it.